वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषये भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। नारायणं पद्मभुवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तं तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यान् अस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतो वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणं तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारं प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Second section, 10th mantra. You can repeat. इष्टापूर्तं मन्यमाना वरिष्ठम्
इष्टापूर्तं मन्यमाना वरिष्ठम्
नान्यच्छ्रेयो वेदयन्ते प्रमूढाः
नान्यच्छ्रेयो वेदयन्ते प्रमूढाः
नाकस्य पृष्ठे ते स्फुटेनुभूत्वा
नाकस्य पृष्ठे ते स्फुटेनुभूत्वा
इमं लोकं हीनतरं वा विशन्ति
इमं लोकं हीनतरं वा विशन्ति
अश्रद्धेये उपवसन्त्यरण्ये
तपश्रद्धेये उपवसन्त्यरण्ये
शान्ता विद्वांसो भैक्षचर्यान् चरन्तः सूर्यद्वारेण ते विरजाः प्रयान्ति
सूर्यद्वारेण
यत्रामतः स पुरुषो ह्यव्ययात्मा The last class we have seen this mantra along with the Bhashyam and also Purva Pakshi abstraction that also we saw. Up to this mantra, that is 11th mantra, beginning from the first mantra of this section of the Pratama Mundaka, the Upanishad talked about the karma and upasana. Karma and upasana, do they come under Paravidya or Aparavidya? Aparavidya. Kati vidyaha santi, dve vidye staha, dve vidye veditavye itihasma. The two types of knowledge are there which are to be gained by a jiva. Jiva meaning Manushya, who is endowed with the faculty called buddhi. Therefore, vidya meaning knowledge. Paravidya, aparavidya. So this karma and upasana which have been talked about comes under aparavidya. Aparavidya is that vidya where the karma is involved, where the physical body, the mind, the sense organs, they are involved. In karma, the involvement of physical body is more. Physical body plays an important role. Sharira pradhanam karma. Karma is Sharira Pradhanam. Vaidika karma. Vaidika atava Lokika. Sharira Pradhanam. Kaikam. Kaikam as well as Vachikam. Mind also is involved. Mind also is involved. When body is the mind also is involved. But more than mind, body and Vag. Therefore, Karma Pradhana Aparavidya. Therefore, Karma is Aparavidya. And Kaika Pradhana. And Upasana. Upasana is also Aparavidya. Upasana also Aparavidya. Their mind is involved more than the body. More than the body, the mind is involved. Therefore, Manas Pradhanam Upasanam Aparavidya. Both are Aparavidya. Both involves karma. One is Kaikam, other one is Manasam. Upasana is Saguna Ishvara Dhyanam. That is called Upasana. Dhyanam meaning meditation. What does it mean, meditation? Vijatiya vritti anantarita sajatiya vritti pravagaha dhyanam. That is a continuous flow of similar thoughts or the thoughts related to a particular thing, a particular form. If we are doing dhyanam on particular form, say Dakshinamurti, the vritti of the mind will be only related to the form of the Dakshinamurti. That is a sajatiya vritti. No other vritti supposed to come. That is dhyanam. This Saguna Brahma Vyaparaha, that is Upasanam, which involves dhyanam, that is dhyanam. It is also Manasam Karma only. It is also Manasam Karma. It is also karma. Karma doesn't mean only body is involved. Karma can be with only the mind also. So therefore, Manasa Karma Pradhanam Upasanam. Upasanam, when we say that Devatas walk in, Upasanam, the very word upasanam means upasamipe asanam, being close to that. That means it is a being a karma, therefore close to the devata, the Ishta devata. Living close. Living means not physically living, mentally. Mentally dwelling nearby your Ishta devata. Mentally. That is called upasanam. Upasanam and upavasanam, there is a difference. Upasanam is living near the devata. Upasanam is mentally. Mentally one is with the devata. That is upasana. And upasana karma. Upasana karma. Tayoho. Phalam is parichinnam eva. Both give only limited results. Whether it is karma or upasana. Since both come under aparavidya. Since both involves karma. Upasanam also karma. And the ritual also karma. So for both being karma. Therefore, palam is parichinnam eva. Karmanaha palam up to Swargaloka Prapti, which the Upanishad said. Up to Swargaloka Prapti. That is Ishtapurtam Ityadi Karmana. Ityadi Karmana, a person can reach higher lokas. There are various gradations are there in the Swargaloka that the person, depending on the karma pala, enjoys the palam. Depending on the karma, enjoys the palam. So, therefore, punyapalam, punyapale, nakasya prashtete, sukrutena bhutva visa. That they enjoy the result of the punya karma. And the result of the upasana is also the loka prapti. That loka is Brahmaloka up to Brahmaloka prapti. Brahmaloka prapti. Brahmaloka prapti is the highest possible destination. That also within samsara. Within samsara, the highest possible the destination one can reach is Brahmaloka. That Brahmaji lives. If you want moksha, you can ask for moksha from Brahmaji. By the Upadesha of Brahmaji, one gets jnanam and become free. That is called Krama Mukti. Krama Mukti means freedom from Brahmaloka. Not getting freedom here. Here, since he has done the upasana, the karma, wanted to go to the Brahmaloka and enjoy the Brahmaloka as a palam. Having gone there, suppose if he wants to gain jnanam, he can receive upadesha from Brahmaji and be free. That freedom is called Krama Mukti. If he doesn't get jnanam, then he has to come again. Therefore, the Brahmaloka Prapti is not moksha Prapti, because he has to ask for jnanam, and if he doesn't ask, then the palam becomes anitya palam eva. He has to come back. So therefore, Brahmaloka Prapti is not moksha. There in the mantra, the words are there, Avyayatma, Purushaha. So Avyayatma, Vashakara clarified. Avyayatma is Jara Ragitaha, Apakshaya Ragitaha, Brahmaji, that Hiranyagarbha is the Purusha. His place is Brahmaloka. So, through Surya Dvarena, Shuklagati, that loka can be gained. That is the highest destination one can reach within samsara. Yavat samsara sthayi. Edadantaha tu samsaragatayaha aparavidya gamyaha. These are gainable, attainable through aparavidya. These are gainable through aparavidya. So therefore, whether it is karma, the karma kanda, or upasana, the upasana kanda, both comes under aparavidya only. And the palam being anityam, and the palam being parichinnam. The palam comes under the dharmartha kama purushartha. It is prayers only. It is for the prayorti. It is for the seekers of pleasure, prayorti. What about for the seekers of moksha, shreyorti? For shreyorti, jnana kandam is there, that is the end portion of the Veda, jnana kanda, otherwise called paravidya. In the context of Mundaka Upanishad, it is called paravidya. The paravidya alone can give moksha to the seeker of Shreyas, Shreyorti. For choosing the Shreyas, for choosing between the Shreyas and Priyas, the person must be endowed with the Purushartha Viveka, Purushartha Nishchaya, that Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, that clear knowledge with regard to the Purushartha. With regard to the Purushartha, the person must have, then only he can choose to come to Vedanta. If he's a Vaidika, he can choose to come to Vedanta. Because Vedanta only gives Paravidya. Paravidya is moksha. Paravidya, jnanam is moksha. Jnanam eva moksha, jnanena moksha, or jnanam eva moksha. That is not reachable through karma. That is not reachable meaning attainable, gainable. That is not gainable by karma. That is not gainable by upasana. Na karmana, na prajaya. Tyage naike amritatvam nashahu. So, therefore, if the jiva is a seeker of moksha, then aparavidya will not give him what he wants. That is the moksha, the freedom. So he has to come to paravidya, that is Vedanta, Vijnana Kanda. Then why can't he come directly to Vedanta? No, karma and upasana also has certain benefits. If the karma is done, if upasana is done with moksha in mind, with moksha as the destination, as a goal, if karma and upasana is done, then the person gains certain pakvata. Karma has certain things to offer. Similarly, upasana also. If karma is done only for the sake of dharmartha kama purushartha, then the palam is parichinnam. The palam is either igaloka palam or paraloka palam. If the karma is sakama karma. But if the karma is done with the goal, with moksha as the goal, then the karma becomes nishkama karma. The nishkama karma leads to chitta shuddhi. If it is sakarma, then loka prapti, igaloka atava paraloka. If it is nishkama karma, then it is chitta shuddhi atava jnana yogyata prapti. Chitta shuddhi, that is antakarana shuddhi, that alone is the palam of the karma for yashreyorti. Karma cannot produce jnanam. Therefore, it cannot produce moksha. Still, karma is done by the seeker of moksha. Why? Because for gaining this antakarana shuddhi. So, therefore, karma karma as a role to play. Karma as a role to play for this seeker of Shreyas. Since the Shreyoti is not interested in any material benefits, the same karma, if it is done with the attitude of Nishkama, then it gives him Chitta Shuddhi. What about the Upasana? Upasana also, if it is done with the moksha as a goal, the Upasana gives him Ekagrata, the Chitta Naischalyam, that Arjavam is the benefit of Upasana. If Upasana is done only with the Dharmartha Kama as a destination, then Upasana definitely it gives better results than mere karma. Mere karma takes a person to Swarga Loka, Upasana takes a person to Brahma Loka. There is no doubt about that. Upasana, karma which is done with Upasana, it gives a better Loka, better field of experience. But it is also not moksha. Brahma Loka Prapti also not moksha. If the person is a Shreyoti and has this buddhi, this clear understanding, clear discrimination and analysis of the loka, which is gainable through upasana, if he can do, then he will understand the limitation of the palam, the ultimate palam, which is dharma loka prapti. That also comes under the fold of samsara only. Therefore, the same upasana now for the Shreyorti, it will result in giving the ekagrata. It will give him the focus, the focusedness. It will remove the restlessness. It makes him fit for the pursuit of the study of Shastram and therefore Jnanam and therefore Moksha. Again, upasana or karma cannot produce Jnanam. That is very clear. Therefore, no moksha. Upasana and karma keep the person only within the sphere of samsara. It cannot lift the person out of samsara. Therefore, both these come under aparavidya only. Both come under aparavidya. If moksha is required, then one has to come to paravidya. And aparavidya, the same aparavidya for a Shreyorti, it is useful for the Chitta Shuddhi, for the integration of the personality, integration of the mind. That benefit is there. That Jnana, Yogyata, Praptihi. In other words, Sadhana, Chatushtaya, Sampatti Praptihi. For that, this karma and upasana are important. To come to Vedanta, one must have done this karma and upasana. Need not be in this janma. In the previous janma, the person must have done some karma and upasana. That palam alone in this janma, in the form of seeking for this jnanam, manifest. Otherwise, how are we going to connect the interest for the study of Vedanta? Therefore, Pujya Swamiji once said in the class that the students of Vedanta must have done some karma upasana, Vedic karma upasana in the previous janma. That palam alone, it now has come in the form of the interest, the study of Vedanta. So therefore, this karma upasana being aparavidya, now paravidya is going to be discussed. Limitations of aparavidya having been discussed, now paravidya is going to be discussed. Aparavidya, we saw it involves karma, whether it is kaika or manasa. And the palam is parichinnam. It is anitya palam. Loka prapti is also parichinna palam eva. Because kshine punye bharte lokam vishanti. Even the Upanishad said, imam lokam hinataram va vishanti iti. Therefore, palam being parichinnam, since it involves travel, therefore it is aparavidya. It cannot be moksha. If it is paravidya, paravidya doesn't involve karma. It is purely knowledge. Therefore, paravidya involves knowledge, aparavidya involves karma. Aparam chet praptavyam. Param chet jnatavyam. Bhashyakara said in the Kathopanishad, if it is param, then it has to be known. If it is aparam, then it has to be gained. Gaining a thing involves an action. Action is limited. Therefore, what is gained through action, that also will be limited. Everything comes under within time and space. It comes under travel. It involves movement. Therefore, they are aparavidya. Aparam. Param chet jnatavyam. If it is param, then it has to be known. It has to be the subject matter of knowing, knowledge. Knowledge is involved. So paravidya. So paravidya is that knowledge, as we saw before, ya tadaksharam adigamyate. So paravidya is that vidya, gaining which every other knowledge is as well gained. Whereas aparavidya is not like that. Aparavidya is that very particular knowledge. Aparavidya is infinite. It is a continuous, endless pursuit. So many things are there. So many objects are there. So gaining the knowledge of the objects of the universe, it is endless. Therefore, aparavidya. Whereas paravidya is not gaining the knowledge of the objects. It is the gaining of the knowledge of the very subject. So having gained that knowledge, everything is as well gained. And this paravidya is not something which is totally newly gained. It is not totally newly gained. Aparavidya involves apraptasya praptihi. That which is not gained, it has to be gained. Money is not there, dhanam not there, artha to be gained, therefore involves effort, that is aparavidya. Apraptasya arthasya shamena praptihi. Similarly, dharma, punyam also to be gained. It is not praptam now, it is apraptam, therefore to be gained. Loka to be gained, sukham to be gained, the pleasures in the loka to be gained. All these are aprapta. Apraptasya praptihi involves karma, involves effort. Karma in the form of the Vedika karma, the ritual, or the upasana. So apraptasya praptihi, that is aparavidya. What about paravidya? Paravidya is praptasya praptihi, gaining the already gained. Gaining the already gained means what? It is already gained, then why should I gain? Because I don't know. Therefore, ignorance is involved. Therefore, it has to be gained. So, because ignorance is involved, ajnanam being there, therefore, the removal of ajnanam, like when the light comes, the darkness goes away. Similarly, the wake of jnanam, the ajnanam goes away. Ajnana nivrittihi. Ajnana nivrittihi is jnana praptihi. Jnana praptihi is moksha. Therefore, it is praptasya praptihi, gaining the already gained. This is another difference between Paravidya and Aparavidya. Paravidya is gaining the knowledge of the subject. Knowing the subject, knowing oneself, everything is as well gained. That is Paravidya. Aparavidya is gaining the knowledge of the objects. Objects are infinite, therefore it is going to be a endless pursuit. Other difference is it is apraptasya praptihi, aparavidya, praptasya praptihi, paravidya. And another difference is aparavidya is the knowledge, vidya meaning knowledge, aparavidya is knowledge which is gained by the mind. How does the mind gain that knowledge? The mind has the tendency, the mind has the capacity to modify itself into the a particular vritti vyapti. That is, the mind assumes a form of the object whose knowledge to be gained. Vritti vyapti modifies itself into the appropriate the appropriate mode true to this object. It modifies what when the object which is to be perceived, when the object comes under the perception to gain knowledge, the mind modifies itself into the vritti, and the vritti does the vyapti, pervades the object. Therefore, the mind gives the knowledge of the object. Whereas Aparavidya is the knowledge is gained in the mind. It is dependent on the mind. Aparavidya gives knowledge of the object. Paravidya also, the knowledge also is gained in the mind, but not by the mind. It is also gained in the mind. Both the vidyas are gained in the mind, but there is a difference. Paravidya is gained in the mind. Paravidya also is vritti jnanam. Paravidya also vritti jnanam, but it is not by the mind. There is a difference. Paravidya gives the knowledge of Atma, which is not one of the objects in the world. Atma cannot be confined to Deshakala Vastu. So, therefore, the mind, the vritti takes place not like in the case of the Aparavidya, where the knowledge of the object takes place by vritti vyapti. Here, the vritti, every vritti is illumined by the very subject. Therefore, here there is no vritti vyapti. The vritti need not do the vyapanam of the object because there is no object here. Here the subject, only the subject is there. In the presence of subject only, the vyapti, in the presence of subject only, this any vritti vyapti takes place. Therefore, how can a subject be pervaded by the vritti, like in the case of the knowledge gained in Aparavidya? Mind is the instrument. Mind is the instrument of knowledge for both vidya, Aparavidya and Paravidya. But in knowing an object, the mind assuming the form of the object, that is called a vyapti, vritti vyapti. But if Atma is to be known, Atma has to be known, the mind has to assume the form of the Atma. How can mind assume the form of the Atma? Atma doesn't have form. So, therefore, that knowledge there, it is not, the knowledge is not by the mind, it is in the mind. It is unlike the Aparavidya, the knowledge is gained in the mind but not by the mind. The mind recognizes the Atma which is already there, which is self-effulgent. So that is Atmajnanam. This is another important difference between Paravidya and Aparavidya. So, manasa eva vedittavyam, when we say, the mind is the instrument, mind is the karanam for both paravidya and aparavidya. The difference is, in the case of aparavidya, the knowledge is gained by the mind. Whereas in case of paravidya, the knowledge is not by the mind, it happens in the mind. Generally, the mind, what does the mind do? The mind light up the object under perception through its vritti. Before the object being perceived through vritti, it lights up. So the mind, in the case of paravidya, the object of perception being oneself, the Atma, mind is required. Mind is required, but the object is not like any other object in the universe. It is oneself. So therefore, there vritti vyapti is not there. Therefore, it is not by the mind. In the presence of the Atma, the mind reveals. One recognizes the subject. The subject is revealed. The mind recognizes the Atma, which is self-shining, which is self-illumining. So that is the another important difference between paravidya and aparavidya. That recognition of the Atma, that is jnanam, that happens through the Shastra Shravanam. Therefore, Shastram, that happens only through Shastram, not by any other means of knowledge. Not by pratyaksham, not by anumanam, not by arthapatti. So, therefore, Shastram is involved. Shastram is the only pramanam for knowing this Atma, which is aparavidya praptasya praptihi. So, therefore, all this analysis done by the person, now having clearly, distinctly understood the difference between the paravidya and aparavidya, the palam of paravidya and aparavidya having understood, now this person, he has to choose. Which vidya is required. If he is a Shreyoti, then he will go for moksha. If he is a Shreyoti, definitely he must do all this analysis. That is what the Upanishad is going to present now. The analysis of the palam, of prayers and shreyas to be done, and with the clear understanding, with the viveka, purushartha nishchaya, then the person has to give up those pursuit which gives parichinna palam, that is dharmartha, kama, purushartha, and he has to opt for moksha. For moksha, what is required? Moksha means knowledge, involves jnanam, involves shastram. Therefore, he has to go to the guru and ask for this knowledge. And how should he go to the guru? What's the protocol? So that is going to be said by the following the mantra. So the next two mantra, from next two mantra onwards, you can see the clear distinction shown by the Upanishad between aparavidya and paravidya. So there is a clear demarcation after this mantra, after the 11th mantra. That is, in the 12th mantra, a clear demarcation can be seen. Now the topic of paravidya starts. Paravidya is the vidya by which the jnanam of oneself, the Brahma, is gained. That is paravidya. That is praptasya praptihi. That knowledge makes a person free from samsara, free from the limitations of Deshakala Vastu. If it is freedom from Deshakala Vastu, therefore it has to be here and now. It doesn't involve travel. There is no Loka Prapti. There is no Swarga Loka Prapti or Dhamma Loka Prapti. Moksha is here. If it Loka Prapti, then it is Aparavidya, then it is not Moksha. If it is Paravidya, then it has to be here and now. Therefore, the person must have done the analysis of the Loka Prapti, the limitations of Loka Prapti, therefore must have gained some Vairagya. Because Viveka is there, Viveka is followed by Vairagya. Having done the analysis, having analyzed the lokas. Now, the palam of the lokas. Analyze the loka means loka involves the effort. Shama is involved, and also the palam. The palam also he does the analysis. Then he gets vairagya. So that becomes that viveka and vairagya. That is the gate pass. That is the gate pass for entry into Paravidya. Primary or the prerequisite required for entry into Paravidya is this Viveka and Vairagyam. So the person who has Vairagya, who has Viveka backed up by Viveka, for him, the Paravidya, the topic is going to be started. So now Bhashikara, he gives the Sangati to this important mantra. We will read that. Atha idanim asmat sadhya sadhana rupat sarvasmat
Tasmat sadhya sadhana sarvasmat
samsarat viraktasya
samsarat
Sarasya
parasyam vidyayam
Vidyayam
adhikara pradarshanartam idam uchyate.
Adhikara
Pradarshanaर्थam idam uchyate.
Parikshalokan karmachitan brahmanaha
Parikshya lokam karmachitam brahmanah
nirvedamayat nastya kritakritena
nirvedamaya
nastya
tadvijnanaर्थं sagurumevabhikachet.
tadvijnanatham
Sagurumevabhikachet.
Samitpani shrotriyam brahmanishtam.
samitpane
Shrotriyam
brahmanishtam
Mantra. Atha itself shows that the shift of topic. Atha means athato brahma jignasa. That also we have. Atha means what? Sadhana chatushtaya sampatti anantaram. Atha, after. So atha here means after the discussion on Aparavidya. Aparavidya topic is over. Therefore, atha idanim, now what? Idam uchyate, what it is being said. What is being said? Atha idanim idam uchyate. Adhikara pradarshanartham idam uchyate. Adhikara for what? Vidyayam. What vidya? Parasyam. Parasyam vidyayam adhikara pradarshanatham idam uchyate. Parasyam vidya for whom? Viraktasya. For the one who has got vairagya. From what? Samsarat. What samsara? Samsara have got the qualifier. Sadhya sadhana rupat sarvasmat samsarat. Asmat. Therefore, it is the mantra Bhashikara says in the Sangati, the person having vairagya, the dispassion, is alone as the eligibility for Paravidya. Why? If the person doesn't have Vairagya for Aparavidya, Aparavidya means that Shreyas, Dharma, Artha, Kama. It is Dharmarthi, Kamarthi, Moksha. Then Artharthi. If he is not any of these three, he is not after any of these three. Then, if he is after any of these three, then he will not have the commitment for Paravidya. If the person is the priority, is not completely priority, but if he has some interest in prayers, then he may not have, then he cannot have, or he may not, he cannot have the complete commitment for Paravidya. So that is why moksha is a very jealous pursuit. It doesn't allow the prayers, any other pursuit to be there. So you can't be a moksharthi and dharmarthi, kamarthi, artharthi at the same time, not possible. Then does it mean that dharma, artha, kama should be given up? Dharma, artha, kama, one should make that these three subserve the moksha pursuit. That is, the priority is not prayas. The priority is shreyas. If the shreyas become the priority, then shreyas, that is dharma, artha, kama, will subserve the main pursuit. The main pursuit must be paravidya, shreyas. If that is there, then it is not a problem. But if prayers also has the same priority as that of the shreyas, then the person, he cannot have the complete commitment for this paravidya. Paravidya requires commitment. Without a commitment, even this vidya also cannot come to a person. So therefore moksha is not possible. The paravidya will become effective only when the person has vairagya. Vairagya for what? Vairagya for aparavidya. Vairagya for aparavidya and the interest for paravidya and the commitment for paravidya. So the study of paravidya involves viveka vairagya. Suppose if the person studies paravidya without viveka vairagya, then what will happen? A person may not gain the jnanam because the pratibandhas are there, therefore he may not gain the jnanam. He may have a pratibadha jnanam but not apratibadha jnanam. But since he is studying paravidya, therefore it will give certain chitta shuddhi. Maybe over a period of time, when the person becomes more and more qualified, when he gains that pakvata, that maturity, then if he studies paravidya, probably he may gain jnanam and therefore moksha. So, therefore, the prerequisite is viveka vairagya. Then the shraddha in the shastram and in the acharya. So all these things are required for gaining this jnanam, artha jnanam. Therefore, this paravidya is the knowledge. What the paravidya gives is moksha pradayaka jnanam. So that the person having viveka vairagya will gain. So therefore, the person is a shreyorti, he is a mumukshu. He is a mumukshu because he wanted to be free. He wanted to be free. Moksha is his priority. Therefore, he chooses paravidya, he is a mumukshu. Why paravidya? Because paravidya gives jnanam. Jnanam alone gives moksha. Therefore, being a mumukshu is the first thing, and that moksha is possible through jnanam, and that is only by the study of the shastram, the Upanishad. Therefore, he has to become a jignasu. So this is also implied. You are a mumukshu. Being a mumukshu is not sufficient. One has to become a jignasu. Moksha is desired by you, mumukshu, but the desire for moksha should be converted to the desire for knowledge, because the knowledge alone gives freedom, moksha. Therefore, param mumukshutvam, from being a mumukshu to a jignasu, this important transition happens in the person, then he chooses, to come to Jnanakanda, he chooses to study the Paravidya. Then only moksha is also possible for that person. So, therefore, the main eligibility is the person must have this sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, and he must be a jignasu. Therefore, sadhana sadhya sadhana rupat sarvasmat samsarat. Sadhya sadhana rupat sarvatma samsarat. Samsara, which is in the form of sadhya sadhana. Samsara is nothing but sadhya sadhana. Sadhya is the goal, the end to be reached. Sadhana is a means. Samsara is characterized by this sadhana and sadhya, the means and the ends. The means and the ends. So, from this samsara, viraktasya, for the person who is viraktaha, who is dispassionate, who is free from this samsara, which is in the form of the means and ends. Now, for such the person, now, parasyam vidyayam, adhikara pradarshanatam, for such a person, with regard to this knowledge, what knowledge is paravidya? Parasyam vidyayam, the higher knowledge, adhikara pradarshanartam, for the purpose of showing the adhikara. Adhikara means the qualification, the adhikaritvam required for gaining the knowledge. This knowledge is being shown in this, is being told in this the mantra. So the person must be a virakta. The person must be a virakta from aparavidya and commitment for paravidya. So virakta involves vairagya, viveka also. Virakta means vairagya. Vairagya involves viveka. You must have done some analysis. Not virakta because of some bitter experiences. You must have done enough analysis of the nature of aparavidya and the karma and the resultant, the palam of aparavidya. He must have done some analysis. Now, therefore, he has got vairagya. For that person who is fit for knowledge, for that person is adhikari. That adhikara pradarshanaartham idam uchyate. To show the adhikara, the qualification required for this paravidya is being said in this mantra. Pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmanaha. Pariksha lokan. So, pariksha lokan pariksha, that is viveka. Nirvedam ayat, that is vairagya. So, three things are talked about. One is viveka, other one is vairagya. Then the next one is mumukshutvam. Mumukshutvam, nirvedam ayat, tad vijnanartham, that jnanartham, that jnana icha is that mukshutvam means the person is a jignasu. The desire for knowledge is that, therefore jnanartham. This is on the part of the shishya, the person. He has not yet become a shishya, it is for the person. Then another important thing is required. He has to go to the guru. So, and the guru also must be a Shrotriya and Brahmanishta. So, four things are talked about in this mantra. Three things about the person, the fourth thing about the person, the teacher, whom this person is approaching. So, in other words, qualification of the student as well as of the teacher is being presented in this mantra. Adhikara. Adhikaritvam for the shishya, adhikaritvam for the would-be shishya, adhikaritvam for the teacher, both being said in this mantra. So, lokan parikshya. Loka means the loka, that is Sargaloka, Brahmaloka, Ityadi Loka, that is the field of experience. Lokyate iti lokaha, that which is available for your anubhava, that is available for your experience, for your anubhava. That is called loka. And loka, that is gained gained as the result of your action. Karma or upasana, whatever may be. But here the mantra says karma chitan. That is gained through karma. Gained through the karma, either kevala karma or upasana sagita karma, whatever may be. Karma chitan. Chitan is chi. Chi means chayane, to gather, to accumulate. Chi dhatu. So, karma chitan lokan pariksha. The loka which were gained through the karma, pariksha, paritaha ikshya, clearly examined, then this person, who is that person? Brahmanaha. Brahmanaha, it is not the varna of the person. It is not Brahmana Kshatriya, not that Brahmana. Brahmana here means sadakaha, mumukshu ityartaha. That is sattva guna pradhanaha. For the pursuit of moksha, sattva guna is important. Sattva guna pradhanam is important. Sattva guna should be pradhanam in the person. So Brahmanaha means yes, sattva guna pradhana purushaha, Brahmanaha. So it's not jati Brahmana here. So here it talks about the disposition of the mind of the person and is a Brahmana. So therefore Brahmanaha, that is Sattvika Purushaha, Guna Brahmanaha ityartha. Guna Brahmana we have to take. So this Guna Brahmana, because he has got the Guna, therefore he can do the parikshanam. He can do this examination. How? Lokan pariksha, he must have undergone or he must have done the karma, the upasana before coming to Vedanta. So he must have analyzed the result, the limitations of this karma and upasana. So he must have gained some dispassion, not happy with the limited results of this karma upasana. So therefore, since he wants to be free, therefore nirvedam ayat. Nirvedam ayat. Ayat means ya. This ya dhatu, lang lakara, vidiling. Nirvedam ayat. Saha nirvedam ayat. He came to dispassion. He should come to dispassion. Nirvedam ayat, it is ling lakara. This nirvedam ayat, it is in the sense of ling lakara. Nirvedam ayat is in the sense of ling lakara, lung form in the sense of ling lakara. So you should come to nirvedam. Nirveda means what? Nirveda means vairagya. The meaning of the word nirveda is vairagya. With dhatu, with nir, upasarga, gai pratyaya. So nirvedam ayas. So nirvedam is nirvinnaha, nirvedam praptaha. That is vairagyam. Vairagya praptaha becomes vairagya praptaha. He gains vairagya. How does he gain vairagya? He wants moksha. And what he was doing was karma. There is no connection between the karma and the moksha. The sadhana, what he is doing is karma. And sadhya, being a mumukshu, the sadhya, what he wants to gain is freedom. There is no connection between the sadhana and sadhya because of the absence of the connection between the sadhana and sadhya. Therefore, he gains vairagya. Gains vairagya. Nirvedam ayat. So, Brahmanaha karmachitan lokan parikshya nirvedam ayat. Having examined the lokas which are gained through karma, the Brahmana, that's a sattva guna pradhana purushaha, he must come to Vairagya. He must discover this passion. He must develop this passion. This passion for what? This passion towards all these experiences. This anubhava is this anubhava. This anubhava. This examination is only by buddhi, buddhya. It is not that he must undergo all these experiences and then come to Vedanta. That is not possible. He must have. Then he would have spent the whole lifetime in doing the karma. He cannot come to Vedanta. It is not possible. So, therefore, being endowed with this buddhi, he has got the thinking ability. Others are doing blindly. So, therefore, he does analysis, seeing others are doing the same karma and gaining only a limited phalam. Therefore, he doesn't want to follow the same thing. So that is examination. That examination he does by buddhi, by buddhya, and the buddhi is gained by the karma yoga. Therefore, he must have been a karma yogi before. That is why this buddhi is there. Therefore, this buddhi is endowed with this buddhi to do the analysis. So, therefore, he does the analysis, buddhya. Now, having done this analysis, that is viveka, now he developed vairagyam. Vairagyam for what? Vairagyam for this parichinnapalam. He develops vairagyam for parichinnapalam. Being a viveki, being a dhiraha, purushaha, therefore, now this brahmanaha who gained viveka through analysis, now he comes to this passion, he comes to vairagya. And therefore, nastya kritak kritena. Nastya kritak kritena. Kritena akritaha nasti. Important line. Kritena akritaha nasti. Kritena means karma. Kritena karmana nasti. By action, it is not there. What is not there? Akritaha. Krita, anything which is done as its result. So, the krita, that is which is done, that is the action, is the cause. The resultant of the action, which is the product. Now, kritena akritaha nasti. It means kritena karmana. Karma is the cause which cannot produce the effect which is not a product of the karma. Kritena karmana akritaha nasti. Akritaha praptaha nasti. Akritam, which is praptam, is not there. That is the action. By action, you cannot gain that which is not the resultant of any action. Moksha, which is nityaha, which is purnam, which is anantam. That is not a product of any karma, any action. So action cannot produce a result which is purnam, which is complete. Limitlessness is not produced by action. Action cannot produce limitlessness. Action, what the action produces is only in keeping with the action, that is limited. So, if the cause is action, the resultant also will be in keeping with the cause, that is action. If the cause is action, which is limited, the resultant also will be limited. So, therefore, kritena karmana, by the action which is parichinnam, akritaha moksha. Akritaha means moksha, which is not parichinnam, which is purnam. Na means not possible. So kritena karmana akritaha mokshaha na. It is not possible. Therefore, having examined the loka, and once the person must come to vairagyam, and he sees very clearly that akritaha mokshaha, it is not possible through action. Now he has understood, having done the analysis, having understood the limitation of the karma phalam, and therefore vairagya, and now he has understood also. Now he has become a jignasu. He wanted to be free. Now he understood is going to become a jignasu. He understood that akritaha mokshaha is not possible through kritena karmana. Like karma, it is not possible. If I want to be free, that freedom is not possible through action. So, in general, what the people know is only karma, only action, only they know. That is immediately, if you want to gain anything, if you have any problem, immediately what we do, we take up action, because that is the only thing we know. Because the karma gives the palam, and the palam is only for the palam is only the palam is only for solving the immediate the problem, and the problem is being limited. So the problem is not unlimited. It's not the aparichinna samasya. It is problem is because the problem is not all the time it is present. Dukkam is not all the time. Dukkam comes and Sukham comes. So Chakravarta Pravartante. So the problem also being Anitya, therefore we take up action which is also Anitya. So karma is Anitya and the karma palam is also Anitya. And what we know only is karma. We don't do karma for gaining Purnatvam, which is not Anitya. Purnatvam is not Anitya. Purnatvam is the very subject, it is Nityam. So, for gaining Purnatvam, you cannot take up any action. You cannot take up any karma to gain Purnatvam, because Purnatvam is not an object. Purnatvam is not something limited. It is centered on me. It is myself. Therefore, this must be very clear. So, since the Purnatvam, the satisfaction, this happiness, it is centered on me, and even the dissatisfaction is also centered on me. Therefore, for Purnatvam, to gain this moksha, that Purnatvam, that is this ananda, the happiness, what karma I can take up, what karma can I do? So therefore, because karma produces phalam which is limited, therefore I cannot gain the purnatvam, the happiness which is complete through karma, not possible. Therefore, it comes to the understanding kritena karmana akritaha mokshaha nasti iti. Therefore, he understands very clearly, action cannot give me moksha. Karma cannot give me moksha, whether it is Vaidika or Laukika karma, and whether it is the upasana. Upasana also cannot give me moksha. Is karma and upasana, their palam, it has got palam, and the palam is parichinnam. What I seek is moksha, the happiness. Therefore, this karma cannot give me that. So, therefore, now he doesn't know what to do. There is no solution available with him now. So, therefore, to gain this happiness, what should he do? Since there is no pramanam, there is no means available with the person. Pramana is not available. So, therefore, he has to go to the person who has already operated the pramanam and has known the truth. Who is that person? Guru. Therefore, tat vijnanartham, for the purpose of knowing that, referring to that Brahma, the Atma, which is Purnaha. How does he know the Brahma is there? The person, since he is a Vaidika, he must have done karma and upasana. Therefore, he has got some apatata. Jnanam is there. Brahma is there. Atma is there. Iti. Some jnanam is there, but the jnanam is not complete. Some apatata Jnanam. In the words of Pujya Swamiji, just some paperback knowledge is there about Atma. Therefore, Tad Vijnanartham. Tad Vijnanartham, for the purpose of knowing that, Tasya Vijnanartham, that Brahma Vijnanartham, Atma Vijnanartham. Therefore, Saha Gurum Eva Abhigachet. Saha Gurum, he must approach a Guru because he knows he cannot know that by himself. What he knows is only karma. What available immediately with this pratyakshadi pramanam only, and therefore what he can do at the maximum is he can do some action to gain the dharmartha kama only. For moksha, he doesn't have the means. Therefore, he must go to the Guru because he has a means. He must go to the Guru. Gurum eva abhigachet. And also, even if he knows that Shastram is the Pramanam, Shastram, the Upanishad is Aparavidya and gives Jnanam Moksha, even if he knows, then also he must not study by himself. Even if he knows Sanskritam also, he must not study by himself. He must go to the Guru. That is the protocol. Why we will see later, why one should not study Shastram by oneself. Tad Vijnanartham Saha Gurum Eva Abhigachet. How must he go? How should he go? Samitpanigi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. He must go to the Guru. The Guru is Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. He must be a Shrotriya. Shrotriya means he must have listened, he must have received the Shastram from his Guru, and is a Brahmanishta. He is a Brahmanishta Jnani. Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam Gurum Eva Abhigachet. Shastram does the injunction, tells, let him go to the Guru who is a Shrotriya and who is a Brahmanishta. How should he go? How must he go? With the Samitpanihi. Samitpanihi, with the Samit in his hand. The Samit signifies the readiness on the part of the Shishya. The readiness in terms of offering his services to the Guru. Guru Shushrusha or Ashrama Shushrusha. That readiness, the readiness on the part of the Shishya is presented by the Samit, what he carries in his hand. Samit Panihi. Samit is the twigs which are used in the yajna. So that indicates, that symbolizes the readiness to serve. Readiness to serve the Guru, readiness to serve the ashram. So let him go approach the Guru with Samit Panihi. And what? He goes to the Guru, and then what? He must ask for this knowledge. He must ask for this knowledge that is going to come in the next mantra. So this mantra, you can see very clearly the distinction is shown from the Aparavidya. From Aparavidya to Paravidya. For Paravidya, what is required? Guru Upasadanam is required. The person being endowed with this Sadhana Chatushtayam, and he must be a Jigyasu. For Mumukshutvam, from being a Mumukshu, he has come to now Jigyasu. He has improved from being a Mumukshu to Jigyasu. So therefore, the Jigyasu Brahmanaha who has cultivated this Sadhana Chatushtayam, let him approach the Guru, who is a Shrotriya and Brahmanishta, for the gaining of this knowledge. Tad Vijnanatam, for the purpose of knowing this knowledge. Therefore, this is the Adhikaritvam and the part of the Shishya presented by the mantra. And having gone to the Guru, he must ask the Guru. Samitpanihi Sasamit Karaha, that is indication. That alone is not sufficient. Having approached the Guru, he must ask for the knowledge. So that is going to be presented in the next mantra. The Bhashyam, we will see. The Bhashyam to this shloka, it's a very long Bhashyam. Difficult to translate into English also. We will see what best we can do. It's a very important Bhashyam. We will read this. We will read this in the next class. We can stop here. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.